Yeah,
yeah.
they were big footballers.
And I imagine life kind of stopped when the radio was turned on for the
Oh
games.
yes, my dad. My dad was also very interested in boxing. He used to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and listen to Muhammad Ali and Liston and all those guys.
On the, what was that on
The radio.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But we always had to listen to the radio for the games, and then the TV came along.
When did you get television come to?
Not until the late 70s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. At some point, I know your siblings went off to London and all. What made you decide that the United States would be the place that
I had a brother and 2 sisters living here, and they wanted me to come out because I worked in Dublin for the civil service. And it took 2 years to come out here to fill out the papers. It took a good 2 years. And I had to come as a student because I was too young to come on my own and have a job. So I came to my sister, and I went to school in the daytime. I worked in the daytime and went to school at night.
And what year did you come? When did you come?
I came in November 1967.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were
Before that, I worked in Dublin for 2 years. So I left home when I was 18. I worked there until I was 20. And I came out here when I was like 21.
And what did you do? You said civil service.
I was a secretary for
government?
like 15 years in New York.
Oh, wow. And in Dublin, what were you doing?
I was working in the civil service, like bookkeeping and, yeah.
For the government.
Mm-hmm.
And who did you live with then?
I lived on my own with 2 other girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were they girls from home?
No, strangers.
Wow.
Yeah, I found their name in the paper. And we'd go dancing together. That was fun.
Yeah.
Like a new life.
Yeah, I bet it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go then often back to Kerry?
I take the train once a month.
To go back home
Yeah.
to be with the family?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was it hard to leave the first time? To
Very
go to
hard,
Dublin?
yes.
Yeah. Tell me what it was like when you decided you were going to come to the States and you had to go and talk to your parents about doing that.
Well, that was very difficult too because I liked Dublin, and even though that the money wasn't good there, to me I felt like I was at home. But I didn't like to go to the States because I heard, so many things growing up, killings and shootings and traffic and big buildings and pollution. And I don't know, I was kind of turned away from it.
Yeah.
But then when I came out, it took me a good year to get used to it.
How was that? Now, you came to New Jersey? Is that where you went?
No, I lived in the Bronx.
Okay, to New York.
Yeah.
That's where
And I found the traffic and the train I'd come in, and I was all dirt in my face, and I just found it a big change.
Yeah.
So my sister took me downtown. She says, you have to find a job just like everybody else, and you have to make a living, and you're going to pay so much rent because I stayed with her. And then she'd make my meals, and there's a lot of food I didn't like, and she said, you have to eat it. She'd make me eat rare roast beef, and I hated it, and I didn't like pizza, but I got used to it.
Yeah. Well,
So,
if you eat cabbage and bacon for 5 days a week,
right.
I guess it would be a big change.
Mm-hmm.
How did your parents take it when you told them that you were going to immigrate?
They were happy, I think, for me because they knew the money and there was more opportunities, and it was much better.
Yeah. And how did you travel to get to the States?
I flew in. I was working in London for 4 months, and I flew from Heathrow into JFK. And my brother came to meet me and my sister.
And you went from Dublin to?
Heathrow, to London.
London to work?
Yeah, and I lived with my dad's sister, Auntie Bridie.
Okay.
And I stayed there for 4 months.
And why did you leave Dublin to go to London?
Because my brother was getting married in August, so then I worked from August to November.
Okay, so
yeah.
You were just there, but you already were waiting to just come to the States.
Right,
is that
right. Mm-hmm.
And in those days, you had to have a sponsor. Is that right?
Yeah, my brother Michael sponsored me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew that.
And he paid my airfare, and then when I got the money, when I had it, I paid him back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how long did it take before you left from here and went back to Ireland to see your family again, your mom?
The following year.
The following year.
Yeah. And I went home every year. And then I'd send packages when she started doing the B&B. I'd go to Alexander's, and it was like a January white sale, and I'd buy like 10 pairs of sheets and towels, and I'd send a big box of them home.
Yeah. Kept her supplied up.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did your parents ever come out here to you?
Many times. Well, no. The first time they came was the World's Fair in '64.
Uh-huh.
And then they made many trips after that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
and my mom came when I got married. She came. because my dad couldn't leave. There was guests in the house and they wouldn't leave. So he had to stay with the guests.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That must have been disappointing for you.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And when you would go back for a visit, was it harder to leave to come back
It
here?
was sometimes, yeah. For about 5 or 8 years, and then I got used to it.
Yeah. How did you make friends and find people to
I
socialize
met
with?
a lot of people through work and Irish dancing. I'd go to the Red Mill or Paprins out in Queens, Woodside, and that's where I met most of my friends.
Did you seek Irish people? Is that
Yes.
you went and tried to seek out the
Yeah,
Irish
right.
people to go and spend time with?
Yeah.
How did you meet your husband?
In Upper Manhattan, a place called the Hitching Post, and it was an Irish cabaret. There was a bar and a dance floor. And the funny thing, I met him, I went to the ladies' room, and when I came back, he said, "Your seat is wet. Do you want me to clean it for you?" And I said, "Oh, sure." So then years later, I used to kid him. I said, "What brought you here? You can't even dance," because he's not a dancer. So we still kid around about that.
Is he a dancer now?
No, he likes to play basketball and golf. Definitely a sports freak, yeah.
And now Zilliox is not an Irish name.
No, my mother-in-law was Irish, Rowan, and my father-in-law is German French from Alsace-Lorraine.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Yeah, and he was born in this country, but his parents came from Germany and France,
Yes.
and they were superintendents in the Bronx for years.
So he was brought up in the Bronx.
He was brought up in Washington Heights. He was born there.
How did you find your way to this area, to Fairfield?
My husband worked for a company, and they were supposed to be moving north of Darien. So we figured we'll go to Fairfield if it's north of Darien. Because when I got married, we lived in Mount Vernon, and I worked in New York. He worked in Greenwich. He worked for a packaging company for 15 years. He's an accountant, right? So then he worked for this company. Yeah, and instead of moving north of Darien, they moved to Decatur, Georgia. And he was asked to leave, and I says, "No, I'm not leaving my family. We're staying here. You can find another job." So he found another job. So he's been in many jobs since. But that's what happened. So we bought our first home in Stamford, and then we moved up here.
And when did you get married?
1974.
74. And his first name is?
William Bell.
Yeah, William. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you said before you had children. How many children?
And the funny thing is, I'm sorry,
go ahead.
our name is Zilliox. So my mom didn't know what I was marrying. She says, "My gosh, Nora, what kind of a name is that? Please tell me how you pronounce it and how you spell it and what kind of a person is it." She didn't know what I was marrying.
Had she met him before she came?
No.
So she just met him when she got here?
Right.
Yeah. And did they hit it off well?
Yeah, very well. Yeah.
And has he gone back with you to Ireland?
Oh, yeah, many times.
Yeah.
He loves it there because he loves to golf.
Yeah. Oh,
And there's great golf courses.
yeah, especially near Kenmare.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, in Waterville and all.
Ballybunion, Waterville,
Yeah.
Kenmare.
Yeah. Beautiful places there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now tell me about your children.
I have 3 daughters. My youngest was born in County Cork because it was my parents' 40th wedding anniversary. So that was a big reunion. All the 14 kids went home, and she was born in County Cork.
Surprised?
Yes.
Early baby?
No, well, actually I had a C-section every time, so they had to take it 2 weeks early, and I didn't want to disappoint my parents by not going home. So then my middle daughter was born in St. Joe's in Stamford, and that's knocked down. It's no longer a hospital. And my oldest daughter was born in Mount Vernon in New York.
Wow.
Yeah.
And are they all grown now, or are they still?
They're all grown up. The oldest is going to be 13 in September.
Okay.
No, wait a minute, 13 August. The middle one was 27 in May, and the youngest is going to be, wait a second. The youngest is 27. She was 27 in May. Linda's going to be 28 July 31st. That's it. And 30. 27, 28, and 30.
Do any of them live at home with you now?
No. Go home to a nice quiet house, except for the dog.
Do they enjoy going back to Ireland with
They
you?
did. They loved it.
Yeah.
Except my oldest. They didn't like the smell of goats, and we never had goats, but when we take them to goats, they didn't like the pigsty, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I understand that. How about the smell of the turf burning?
They love that. And they love the food back there, the brown bread and the sausages, the bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as youngsters, you started taking them very young back home with you?
Yes, when they were like in 4th grade, 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And lots of cousins over there?
Lots of cousins.
And now do they travel on their own back and forth over there?
My daughter went to school in Galway. She got her master's degree there. And when my mom was, very sick, she spent a whole 2 months with her.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
So she loved Ireland.
Yeah, yeah. I bet she did. Now, will they still go back, do you suppose?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe Trish, the one that went to school in Galway. She may go back.
Yeah. It's not the same. Though.
No.
Yeah, it's not the same. How about a holiday like Stephen's Day? What kind of things did you do on Stephen's Day? Did you have family?
Since Stephen's Day, my brother would go out, they'd kill a bird, the wren, because it's the king of the bird. But if they couldn't find the wren, they would get a little ball of aluminum foil and put in a holly bush. And they'd decorate the bush with all kinds of ribbons. And they'd go around to every house and collect money. And then that night we'd have a big party,
And
like a week later.
a week later, with all the people that they
All the
collected
people
money
that
from?
collected money from,
And where would the party be?
in our house.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how was that?
No.
What happened at a party like that?
There'd be just like sing-song, dancing, storytelling, and eating. Eating and drinking. Some people would play cards maybe and go off to a corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your party piece, Nora?
I'd sing and dance.
You'd sing and dance.
Yeah.
Okay. And how about your father?
He'd dance and sing. My mom.
Did any of them play instruments?
No, none of them. None.
What was your
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? One sister played a tin whistle. Sheila, yeah.
and what was your song that you'd sing? Do you remember the name?
I'd sing different songs. The Boys from the County Armagh, or I used to imitate Bridie Gallagher, so I sang a lot of her songs. How Can You Buy Killarney? Lovely Leitrim, Galway Bay, songs like that. The Old Claddagh Ring.
Oh wow, those are nice. Yeah, but you don't sing anymore.
No, very little.
Yeah.
Ed O'Connor's trying to get me into the Glee Club, but I think I'll stick to the dancing.
Well, you're a beautiful dancer. I see you dance.
I love it.
I know. You can see it all over your face.
Yeah,
when
thank you.
Dancing.
Yeah, I
You can
love
see
it.
all over. And how about your dad? What kind of songs did he sing?
He sang more like, not so much rebel songs, but old, like the Foggy Dew, Skibbereen, Dear Old Skibbereen. I'll Take You Home Again, Kathleen, Danny Boy. Trying to think of them. What else would he sing? The Snowy Breasted Pearl.
I don't even think I've ever
That's a
heard of
beautiful song. Boule of Vogue, he'd sing. Yeah.
So there was a lot of music and dancing.
A lot of music
a lot
and
of
dancing.
Cheerfulness. It sounds
Right.
like your house was a very cheerful house
Yeah.
to be in.
Happy-go-lucky kind of.
Yeah, but yeah. Now, except for not being able to
Cat
sleep.
purring by the fire. The dog.
Jeez, that's nice memories to have. How did you get introduced to the GAC, Gaelic American Club?
When it was in the old place, Paddy Cave, my kids used to go dancing there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's how I joined,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I used to help out with St. Patrick's Day, making sandwiches and doing all that.
And that was the one on Goodsell Street in Bridgeport?
No,
Fairfield Avenue?
right.
Wow. So you've been a member a long time for the Gaelic American Club.
Since over the jewelry store.
Oh, over here. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. So just one back.
Right.
How did you hear about the place?
Well, I followed where the Irish went, I guess. Or probably a dance up here or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Bill was involved. Wasn't he treasurer of the club?
He
for a while?
was. He did the accounts. He did all the editing, the books.
Yes, I remember that. Let's see. Do you have grandchildren yet? Or
No, not yet. I'm waiting. I bought the toys, bought the books, no grandchildren.
But you do have.
I'm trying.
granddaughters.
My daughter lives around the corner from me. My son-in-law is Polish. His parents are from Poland.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you've got one married, so now
Right,
the
and
way
two
you
more to go. One has a steady boyfriend. He lives in Portland, Maine. But she just got a job in New York teaching English as a second language. So she's going to be moving to the city. In fact, she did.
She did move. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're a teacher, and you teach where?
In Mill Hill School in Southport.
In Southport. But,
Yeah.
Okay.
Kindergarten.
And what kindergarten?
Kindergarten.
Teacher.
Yeah.
How long have you been teaching?
I'm in the public school. I'm teaching 10 years.
Wow.
Right. I started off in Montessori in St. Pius. And I was there 2 years. Then my husband lost his job, so we needed medical. So then I got into the public school. So I've been there since.
Yeah. Do you like it?
I love it. Yeah, I love the kids.
Did you ever become a citizen?
Oh, yeah. When I was here 5 years, I became a citizen. And I've served jury duty many times.
Have you?
But never, a case, always, dismissed.
Dismissed. Yes, you hadn't had to. How is your life different here than you think it would have been if you'd stayed in Ireland?
I think I much prefer living here, that I wouldn't have the opportunities and wouldn't have what I have today if I stayed in Ireland. But now Ireland is changing so much. There's so many different nationalities. Every child in Ireland, Irish born, they go to school there, and the college is free if you maintain your grades. So that's a wonderful thing.
Talking about the difference in education here to Ireland, when you were growing up, did you have the leaving certs too?
Yes, we did. Right.
Tell me something about that. How does that work?
Well, in elementary, you had to pass Gaelic. Otherwise, you didn't pass anything. You had to pass Gaelic. And you had a Nora language. Somebody come in and chat with you like you and I are doing now. And they'd have a conversation and you would answer questions. Then you had to write an essay in Gaelic. And then you had math, English, history, geography. In the higher schools, shorthand, typing. The boys used to have science. The girls didn't have science because they had domestic.
Okay.
And that's how it worked.
And so did you take a
bookkeeping
certificate from?
Yes, you got the leaving and then the high leaving.
The high. So you took. At what age did you take the first leaving certificate?
Like middle school,
Okay.
and then high school you did the other one.
The other one. Okay.
Yeah.
And was there a lot of pressure on that?
There was. It was very difficult, very hard.
It's a standardized test that's taken all over.
Yes.
Ireland, the same test
Right.
is taken by.
There's what's it called? There's the leaving. That's the big one, and then the intermediate. We'll say.
Okay. Now, if you didn't pass the intermediate, would that mean you wouldn't be able to go on?
You'd be kept back. You'd have to pass it.
You'd have to pass it
Right.
before you could go on to the next
Right.
level.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how the schools work now, but wasn't there a time where, as long as you were going to school, you could go any place?
Any place you want.
You didn't have to go to the local school. You could go.
You could go to the convent or you could go to the public school, but there was all, in my town, there was the convent, there was out the country, the public school, which is the national school, and then you had just all boys school.
Yeah.
But now it's all changed, it's all mixed together. They have a new school because they knocked down the convent, they did away with it.
Yeah.
And they still has a boys school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How, I know your mom just died recently, so maybe that's a little bit sensitive, but when people died at home, was it their wakes from home or?
You know what, and I growing up, the only one I remember that died, and my mom and dad were here at the World's Fair, was Tom Spillane. And he died very young of a massive heart attack, and he was waked in the house, and he was waked upstairs in the bedroom, and he was brought out the window upstairs in a ladder that lowered it down, and he was brought to the church.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you there for that, or you?